The year is 2044 and we are in the European Championships with our Sweden side. It will be hosted in Scotland and Wales, so knowing our luck, we'll probably play all of our matches in the far northwest corner of Wales, which I believe is real, if I'm not mistaken. And for our Norrköping side, we are obviously back-to-back champions of the Allsvenska. We've won 4 of the last 5. Can we make it 5 of the last 6? 3 in a row would be absolutely magical. We've not had the same luck, though, when it comes to the Swedish Cup. The Swedish Cup, obviously, we get to the final 5 times in the last 5 seasons, and we've only won 2 of them. We need to start winning this one more, I think. Obviously, on the 1st of February, the transfer window has already opened, and we have brought in one player to the club, Sami Alboy, who has signed from Coton Sport, an 18-year-old Cameroonian central midfielder, definitely one for the future, most likely one who's going to get sold on to another team in Sweden, because I feel like this is what we need to start doing. We need to start selling our players, our fringe players, to other Swedish sides. It has taken me 22 seasons to work this one out, that we are maybe hoarding players that could be beneficial to other Swedish sides. I've been loaning them out, but not been selling them. 3 players have also left the club. Olle Jonsson has moved over to Landskrona on a free transfer after his contract expired. And Jonas Andersson has moved over to Mjällby after his contract expired on a free transfer. And Raoul Fondop has moved over to Bayern Munich. Yes, this one was kind of inevitable. There is clearly some potential there, and there was clearly some current ability there. Ralf Fondop moves to Bayern Munich for 23.5 million, or 23 million, possibly rising to 25.5 million pounds. And I just want to show you as well, we are getting 50% of the next transfer fee if he ever leaves. If he leaves for like 100 million pounds, which for his quality, he arguably could, he's only 21, we're getting half of that. Not half of the profit, half of the 100 million pounds. So I kind of hope that he does not necessarily flop at Bayern. In fact, I hope he does well at Bayern and then moves over to like a Real Madrid or a Barcelona for a huge sum of money. That would be amazing. Not that we need the money, by the way. We do have £25 million to spend this season, nearly £26 million. We've got about £40,000 of our wage budget as well if we want to be spending that. But looking at our squad planner, I don't really know where we should be spending that. I mean, when we go by star ratings, maybe a new centre-back, maybe a new goalkeeper, maybe a new defensive midfielder. But I think we've kind of got players who can do those jobs. I am obviously going to look to spend some of that money, maybe not all of that money, because it is quite a lot of money to try and spend, but we will see how we can go. Oh, and finally, in the Champions League, we have managed to get out of the groups. We have finished in 19th place with 3 wins against Newcastle, Young Boys and Olympia, 2 draws against Porto and Atletico Madrid, and then 3 defeats against Monaco, Arsenal, and the disappointing one against Galatasaray, although Galatasaray did finish above us. And as of yet, we have not drawn our opponents for the playoff round, but I suspect it's probably going to be somebody really good, and we're just going to lose at this stage, which is starting to worry me, okay? I'm wondering whether we need to do a change in formation, and we need to get ourselves somewhat of a little bit of a cheat formation. It is a cheat, but it's in the game, so is it technically a cheat if it's in the game? I think next season we might do it. This one will stick with what we know for now. So let's jump forward then to the other side of the transfer window, the Swedish Cup. Basically, most of that will be played. Obviously, the transfer window will be closed, and we'll probably be knocked out of the Champions League. 3 more players have left the club on permanent deals. Isaac Sprangberg is the first one, moving over to Brommapojkarna. This is kind of what I was saying earlier about I think we're hoarding too many players. This is one of those players that we're just hoarding him. He's 25 years old now. We don't need him. Let's move him on to somebody else. And they might actually play him and develop him into a much better footballer and actually get the use out of him. He's gone for £41,500 as well, so a massive loss on him. Maximiliano Martinez is another player to move on. Our number 1 goalkeeper for a brief period, I believe, and then we kind of replaced him almost immediately. He has moved over to Helsingborg for £57,000, possibly going up to £72,000. Again, another player that we weren't playing him. Let's give him to somebody else in Sweden, and luckily he has done that. Give him to someone else in Sweden, and hopefully they can get the use out of him. Also, he is Swedish. Do we call him up to the Sweden squad in time for the Euros? I'm going to say no, because I feel like we got a better number 1 goalkeeper in Sweden, but it's a possibility. And the final one didn't manage to stay in Sweden. I tried so desperately to do so, but he didn't manage to. Tormod Bertilsson has moved over to Torino, and he has gone for £650,000 and has actually started off really well. It might even go up to 275, so even better. And joining the club, we brought in 2 players for a total of £285,000. Paolo Vanni is the first up. He is a 19-year-old Italian goalkeeper who's been brought in from Blunieri, or Inter Milan, and he has gone immediately out on loan to Orbro on a loan deal to the end of the season. He's come in for £105,000, and we're getting £11,000 already back from this loan deal. So he is obviously most definitely one for the future. The fact that his value is 2.3 to £3.6 million shows me that there is a bit of potential there. And for £180,000, we have signed South African international Offensi Malango. Offensi Malango, that's probably what that is. He's come in to be a squad player because we don't have a huge amount of fullbacks at the moment, so we've just spent a bit of money, £180,000. He's not going to play a huge amount of football for us. There has also been a huge amount of loan deals, as you would expect, but these are now getting kind of important, and some of them are actually good players now, like Gazozo going out on loan. We've also got Antonsson going out on loan, a good young Swedish footballer. Vlad Marison, he's looking pretty good as well. We've got Vanni, we've mentioned. Norman Burgess, he's gone out on loan to Hammarby to hopefully get a bit more game time. We've got Kayewa, who's starting to get a bit better, I think. He's going out on loan as well. Pavlov, who's rubbish. I brought him in because he's from Kazakhstan. He's gone out on loan. Dulk as well, starting to get good. He's going to get some football. Anyone else of interest? I think Tacchini, maybe? No, not Tacchini. Foppa Maveng, another one. He needs some game time. Hopefully he's going to get a lot playing for Skövde. And we've got two players actually going to Göteborg. So, Carlson, he's gone on loan to Göteborg. We've also got Eriksson going on loan to Göteborg. And then Ali Pearson, is he good? He looks all right, doesn't he, for a 17-year-old? He's gone out on loan. And Alboy, who we signed in the basically in the pre-season transfer window, he's already gone out on loan as well. So lots and lots of players leaving the club, which is why we kind of need to do a bit more strengthening in our fullback positions. If I sort by what we're training them as, you can see we've got one right back who is unhappy and is definitely leaving the club at the end of the season. And we've got one left back called Mohamed Apong, who, whilst he is very good, he's our one left back, so if he gets injured, we're kind of screwed there. You can also see tactically, we are not locking in anybody for this season because basically, I've got to a point where I think our best 11 is probably the players that we'd lock in anyway. So the boy we would lock in Dumbaya up front as well. So I think this is fine. I'm okay with this. It means if we're not locking in players like Dumbaya, when he gets tired, he'll get dropped rather than what we normally do where he'll just get force played week on week until he's just absolutely shattered and his legs just fall off. Things to mention then, we have made it to the Swedish Cup final once again, this time up against Mjällby. So I would like to be able to beat Mjällby, that would be nice. And then we can pick up our third trophy. I say third trophy. It will be our third Swedish Cup with Norrköping. In the Champions League, we did get knocked out by Inter Milan. We actually lost both matches 2-0. So yeah, we are not getting very far in the Champions League at all. This is why I'm considering changing the tactic to something a little bit more broken, shall we say. But we're not going to do that this season. Maybe next season might be the one we go for. And for our Sweden side, by the way, we have not entered this just yet. We are going to jump forward. We're going to see what happens when we play. We've got basically the Swedish Cup final and a whole bunch of league games to play. And I think we'll come back just in time for the Euros to be drawn. Maybe. It is the 10th of June at midnight and the Euros have been drawn and we are in a very difficult group. If we have a quick look and make it easier to see, we're in Group F with Croatia, Germany and the Netherlands. We are easily the worst team out of those four, which means I suspect we're probably going to finish bottom. I think that's kind of okay. We're still in a phase of developing this Sweden side, so the fact that we're not going to be beating Croatia, Germany and Netherlands, I think that should be fine. Although if we do finish bottom, we might get sacked. Maybe. We shouldn't get sacked. We're doing all right. Feedback is a C+. Feedback is a C+. Oh, this... We better hope we do well in the Euros. In other news, we are currently top of the Swedish Premier Division and we have won the Swedish Cup, beating Mjällby 3-0 in the final. Let's take a quick look to see who managed to pick up the goals in this one. It was Brown, Ishikawa and Fotso with the goal in the 70th minute to seal the deal. We absolutely battered them by the looks of it. They had 2 shots on target with an XG of 0.21, so they were probably from the halfway line. For our Euros then, we kick things off against Croatia in Cardiff, and then we're jumping up north to play at Ibrox and Hampden Park to play Netherlands and Germany. So a little bit of Wales, and then obviously a couple of matches in Scotland as well. So I think I'm kind of, if we do well here, if we beat Croatia, I'm kind of going to be a little less concerned with the Netherlands and Germany games, because if we beat Croatia and maybe finish third in the group, that's fine. So our Euros has kicked off not particularly well. A 2-2 draw against Croatia. Not awful. Obviously, we did manage to get a point from this, but this was the match that I thought if we were going to win one of them, this would be it. And that is because on the 18th of June, we played against the Netherlands, and we lose this one 1-0, which means we've got 1 point from a possible 6. We've got Germany still to play. which started off so promising by the fact that we were 2-0 up after 45 minutes. In fact, at half-time we were 2-0 up, and then in the second half we absolutely just capitulated and we lost 4-2. It means we are out of the Euros. We could have finished in third place and qualified with 1 point if we didn't concede 4. If we conceded just 3 against Germany, we would have finished in third and probably qualified. But because we conceded 4 against Germany, we screwed it up. And looking at the performance feedback from the board, yes, it's an F. I think our time in charge of Sweden might be done. Anyway, we've now moved forward to the 7th of July. The transfer window is open for our Norrköping side. We have a lot of money to spend still, £27.5 million, and a fairly big chunk of our wage budget is also available. I don't know what we're going to do yet. I'm more concerned about our Sweden job, to be honest. So we are going to jump forward. No transfers have taken place just yet. I'm going to jump forward to the end of the transfer window, where we will hopefully have a whole bunch of new faces joining the club. Or, in 4 days' time, we'll be sacked as the manager of Sweden. We didn't win any... I say didn't win. We did win things. We won matches, but we didn't do very well at all. And I have been sacked. One silver lining. It's not a silver lining at all. Max Linden, who's my best friend in Sweden, apparently, he's also decided to leave the Sweden job as well. So he is stuck with me with Helsingborg, with Mjällby, with Norrköping, and the Sweden job. And every time I move, he wants to join me. So Max is a good buddy. Right, we jump forward to the 1st of September. The transfer window is closed. We've only got one job in mind now, and that is the Norrköping job. And we have brought in former Sweden #1 goalkeeper, Alfred Thorstensson. He has joined on a free transfer after his contract at Wolves, I believe, expired in the summer. I think he's a good player. He's come in as a backup as well, which is really good. For £1.7 million, we are starting to throw some money around. We have signed Igor Kovacic, who is a Serbian international right-winger signed from Partizan, who looks very, very good. 20 flair. I need to teach him how to do bicycle kicks. I mean, not me specifically, because I'll just pop a hip, but someone needs to teach him how to do them. For £2 million, we've spent too much money on Bruno Bentancur, who is a Uruguayan under-23 international with a lot of potential, hopefully. Although now I'm looking at him, I think this was too much money. We've done it. He's come into the club. His value is 2.8 to 4.4, so there is kind of a bit of hope that he might be good. But obviously, 19 years of age, he needs football. He's going to get that at Deg Fours this season. So we'll keep an eye on Bentancur for a couple of years and see how well he does. And for £2.7 million, we have brought in what I believe to be possibly our best player, and that is Ronnie Peña, a 22-year-old Ecuadorian central midfield with 46 caps and 6 goals to his name. He is not naturally trained in defensive midfield, but we are forcing him to train there, and he is learning it very, very quickly. I think Peña is going to be a superb footballer for us, and for £2.7 million, that is an absolute steal. And that's basically all the transfer business we've done. We've sorted this by date, so we've only loaned out 4 players. Bentancur being one of them, Luis Gomez being another. We signed him in the summer, I believe, or not the summer, the pre-season or last season. And yeah, he's complaining he's not getting football, so we've loaned him out to Mjällby. Bentancur, we know. Holst has gone out on loan to Trollhättan, and Ayala Fajardo, might be his name, has gone on loan to BK Häcken because he also wasn't getting any game time. Oh, and we are currently top of the Allsvenska by a fair distance. 9 points clear of second place Kalmar at the moment. 10 points clear of Helsingborg. 11 points clear of Mjällby. I feel like we are picking up our 3rd successive Allsvenska title. Oh, and in the Allsvenska, we are currently top of the table by a fair distance. 9 points clear of Kalmar. 10 points clear of Helsingborg. 11 points clear of Mjällby. I feel like we are about to pick up our 3rd successive Allsvenska title with Norrköping, and it is going to be our 5th in 6 years, which is kind of ridiculous, really. Oh, and I don't think I've mentioned this before, but they're building a new stadium as well. 32,093 capacity, apparently. They're just trying to find a site. It seems weird that they've designed the stadium without knowing where it's going to get built, but whatever. We'll just kind of deal with that. So hopefully, before our Building a Nation save ends, Norrköping will have a brand new stadium as well. So without further ado, let's jump forward to the end of the season, see how well things go. Obviously, we have got our Champions League draw. We should take a quick look at see who are we playing in the Champions League. I imagine we're probably not going to do particularly well. So we've got Porto, Dinamo, Benfica, AC Milan, Rennes, Bruges, and then Villarreal and Liverpool. Actually, that's not too bad. I feel like we should beat Porto, Dinamo, Benfica, Rennes, Bruges, and Villarreal. It's Liverpool and AC Milan are the ones that I'm kind of concerned about. I think we could do well here. We're not going to, obviously, you know how this goes, but I think we could do well. Let's jump forward to the end of our regular season, see how well things go, and obviously we'll play these 6 Champions League games as well. Well, we have won the Swedish Premier Division by 20 points. I think this might be a record. Can we find out? Is it a record? 75 points is the most points in a season. We have broken records with Norrköping, this is good. It's also the most wins in a season as well. So, I mean, I'm happy with this. This has gone down very, very well. We've won the last 3 Allsvenska titles. And in the Champions League, we are currently sat 12th place. We have lost twice against AC Milan and Porto. I said AC Milan and Porto, I was probably a little bit too confident with. We've drawn against Benfica, another kind of probably a bit too confident that we can beat them. But we have beaten Bruges, Rennes and Dinamo. And not only have we beaten them, we've absolutely battered Dinamo and Rennes. We scored 6 past Rennes. So I think technically this season we have won the double, which I don't think we do too often. I don't think we win the double too often at all. We can probably find out, actually. If we go job history, is that the one? Yeah, so we've only won the double 3 times. So we won, obviously this season we won it in our 3rd season with Norrköping, and also one of our later seasons, what's season 8? No, season 8 or 7 with Helsingborg. So we have won the double once again for our 3rd time. And I think we've now won a hell of a lot of trophies as well. Possibly achievement worthy. Just before we finished this season, Traslavina was our 4th top goal scorer. He scored 12 goals in all competitions. Julius Brown was next with 16 goals in all competitions. Kovacevic, considering he only joined in the summer, has also got 16 goals. He played 13 league games and scored 14 goals. This could have been an absolute genius masterclass signing for me. An average rating of 7.95. But as expected, our top goal scorer for the season was Samuel Dumbaya. 24 goals so far in this calendar season, but it's actually 27 once you include the Swedish Cup. We can have a quick look at the assists as well. So Brown, Oppong and Traslavina. There's Oppong, just in case you were wondering. And I want to have a quick look at our best players. Dumbaya, Oppong, Peña. Has he got better? Probably not. He's not been here long enough. Kovacic, Brown, Mavondo. Mavondo, I think, is turning into a half-decent footballer as well. Sabo's, he's still playing alright. He's playing probably primarily as a right back now, I believe. And then Zan Rosman, who I did lock in for the second part of the season. And yeah, he's turning into a good footballer as well. A lot of these are wanted by big clubs and SH Port in China. So PSG want Rosman. I believe PSG also want Dumbaya. No, Porto want Dumbaya. Tansman is wanted by SH Port. Popov is wanted by SH Port. Maybe there's money back in China. I don't know. Akasu is wanted by BK Hacken. Maybe we do that one. That might be a player that we sell to BK Hacken, because I don't think he's ever going to make it at our team, but he will certainly play a lot of football for Hacken. So that might happen over the winter transfer window. That's going to do it then for this season. We are just in charge of Norrköping. We've been sacked from Sweden. We have not done well in the Euros, but we have won the double with Norrköping. We've won the Swedish Cup and the Allsvenska. And we've got a lot of money to spend next season, as we always do. We're doing well in the Champions League. And I might, just might, start to use a slightly broken tactic from the next season. We will see how things go. I think losing all of the matches and getting sacked as the Sweden manager might be the thing that's pushed me over the edge.